New toys!
Buzz Lightyear, at your service.
Welcome to Sunnyside, folks.
Who's Velocitar 237?
Oh, that's just a dinosaur toy down the street. That's nothing. Let me just take care of that.
When Toy Story 3 arrived in 2010, it carried a rare kind of cinematic weight. This was not simply another animated sequel designed to extend a profitable franchise. It was the continuation of a story that had grown alongside its audience for 15 years, beginning with Toy Story and expanding through Toy Story 2. By the time this third chapter reached theaters, children who once watched Woody and Buzz bicker in Andy's bedroom were themselves on the brink of adulthood. That parallel journey between character and viewer gives the film a resonance that few animated features have ever achieved. At the center of the story is a simple but emotionally loaded premise. Andy is leaving for college. For years, his bedroom was a kingdom where imagination ruled and toys lived vibrant secret lives. Now, that era is ending. The film opens with a grand, exaggerated playtime sequence, an action-packed fantasy in which Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jessie, and the entire toy ensemble participate in a sprawling adventure straight out of a child's wildest dreams. It is colorful, chaotic, and filled with the kind of hyperbolic storytelling only a child could invent. But that playful energy quickly gives way to a quieter, more somber reality. Andy is 17. The games have stopped. The room is silent. Woody, voiced once again by Tom Hanks, remains the steadfast leader. His identity has always been rooted in loyalty to Andy. Buzz Lightyear, brought to life by Tim Allen, is no longer the delusional space ranger from the first film, but a confident, devoted friend. Jessie, voiced by Joan Cusack, carries her own emotional history of abandonment from the second film, making the uncertainty of their future even more painful. Together, they face an existential dilemma. What happens to toys when they are no longer needed? Andy intends to take Woody to college and store the others safely in the attic. But through a misunderstanding, a small accident with massive consequences, the toys find themselves in a trash bag placed on the curb. The sequence that follows is one of quiet horror. From the toys' perspective, the trash represents annihilation. Their frantic attempt to escape is both suspenseful and symbolic. Woody manages to free them, but the emotional damage is done. The toys interpret their near disposal as rejection. Convinced Andy has thrown them away, they choose a new path, donation to a local daycare center called Sunnyside. Sunnyside initially appears to be paradise. Bright colors, welcoming staff, shelves full of games, an endless supply of children eager to play. It seems like the solution to every toy's fear of abandonment. Here, they believe, they will be played with forever. They are greeted by a soft-spoken pink teddy bear named Lotso, whose strawberry scent and gentle demeanor mask a far more complicated personality. Lotso presents Sunnyside as a utopia, where every toy has a place and purpose. The newcomers are assigned to rooms, and for a brief moment, optimism returns. But the illusion shatters quickly. The toys are placed in a room filled with toddlers who do not yet understand gentle play. Instead of imaginative adventures, they endure chaos, paint-splattered faces, limbs yanked, buttons mashed with no mercy. The comedy of the scene barely conceals its underlying distress. For toys built to bring joy, being mishandled feels like a violation of their purpose. Meanwhile, Woody, still loyal to Andy and unconvinced he was abandoned, escapes Sunnyside in an attempt to return home. Woody's journey outside the daycare briefly shifts the film's tone. He encounters new characters, including a kind little girl named Bonnie, whose imaginative play restores his faith in being cherished. Through Bonnie's interactions with her toys, the film subtly contrasts different types of childhood. Andy's era was defined by grand narratives and evolving complexity. Bonnie's is whimsical, tender, and immediate. Woody sees firsthand that toys can still be loved deeply, yet his heart remains with his original family. Back at Sunnyside, the darker truth about Lotso emerges. The daycare is not a democracy, it is a regime. Lotso and his inner circle control the allocation of rooms, ensuring they enjoy the gentler older children, while newcomers suffer in the toddler class. The parallels to prison dramas become unmistakable. Surveillance, hierarchy, punishment. Sunnyside transforms from paradise into confinement. Buzz, attempting to reason with Lotso, is captured and reset to factory settings, reverting him to his original Space Ranger persona. This reversal is both comedic and tragic, stripping him temporarily of the growth he achieved over 2 films. The film balances humor with tension masterfully. Buzz's reset leads to absurd moments, including a Spanish mode sequence that injects flamboyant charm into the chaos. Yet even these lighter scenes underscore a central theme: identity can be fragile. Memory defines relationships, and when memory is erased, connection must be rebuilt. As Woody learns that Andy never meant to discard them, he returns to Sunnyside to rescue his friends. The escape plan unfolds with meticulous pacing. Each toy contributes according to their strengths, echoing the camaraderie that has defined the franchise from the beginning. What elevates the sequence is not just the cleverness of the plan, but the emotional stakes behind it. They are not merely escaping a building, they are reclaiming their belief that they matter. The climax shifts to a literal garbage dump, where the toys once again face the specter of incineration. Conveyed through striking visuals of conveyor belts and roaring flames, the sequence pushes the boundaries of what audiences expect from a family film. As the toys slide toward the furnace, their attempts to survive grow increasingly desperate. One by one, they accept the inevitability of their fate. In a moment of profound unity, they join hands. No jokes, no frantic schemes, just solidarity. It is a scene that resonates deeply because it acknowledges fear without undercutting it. Rescue arrives at the last possible second, but the emotional impact lingers. Survival does not erase the underlying truth. Andy is moving on. The toys return home, and Woody faces a final decision. He can accompany Andy to college and remain his companion in memory, or he can ensure the rest of the gang finds new purpose with a child who will play with them every day. In a quietly powerful act of leadership, Woody orchestrates their donation to Bonnie, adding himself at the last moment. The closing sequence is gentle and heartfelt. Andy introduces each toy to Bonnie, describing their personalities with the same affection he once poured into playtime. For the toys, it's a reintroduction to love. For Andy, it's a farewell to childhood. As he drives away, the camera lingers not on spectacle, but on emotion. Growing up is not framed as betrayal, but as transition. Beyond its narrative, the film represents a milestone for Pixar Animation Studios. Technologically, the animation showcases advancements in lighting, texture, and environmental detail. The garbage dump sequence alone demonstrates a complexity unimaginable in 1995. Yet the true evolution lies in storytelling maturity. Few mainstream animated films confront themes of mortality, obsolescence, and generational change so directly. The film performances ground the spectacle in sincerity. Tom Hanks imbues Woody with unwavering moral clarity. Tim Allen balances bravado and vulnerability. Joan Cusack's Jessie radiates emotional transparency. The ensemble feels less like a collection of characters and more like a found family whose bonds have been tested and strengthened over time. Culturally, the film arrived at a moment when many original fans were themselves preparing for college or adult responsibilities. That synchronicity amplified its impact. Watching Andy pack his room mirrored real-life experiences for countless viewers. The film did not attempt to freeze time. It embraced change. Childhood is precious precisely because it ends. Financially and critically, the movie became one of the most celebrated animated films of its era, reaffirming Pixar's reputation for blending commercial success with artistic ambition. But statistics alone cannot explain its endurance. What secures its legacy is emotional authenticity. The story trusts its audience, children and adults alike, to handle complexity. In retrospect, Toy Story 3 feels like both a culmination and a farewell. It closes narrative arcs that began 15 years earlier while opening the door to new beginnings. The toys' greatest fear was being forgotten. Instead, they become symbols of memory itself, reminders that the objects we cherish often carry fragments of who we once were. The film's final moments do not rely on bombast. There is no grand villain defeat that defines the ending. Instead, there is a quiet transfer of ownership, a symbolic passing of the torch from one child to another. That choice underscores the franchise's central philosophy. Toys exist to be played with, and love is renewed with each new imagination. Even years later, discussions about Toy Story 3 often return to that furnace scene and the closing goodbye. Those moments encapsulate why the film transcends its genre. It acknowledges loss without cynicism and celebrates growth without dismissing nostalgia. Few films manage that balance. Ultimately, Toy Story 3 is not merely about plastic figures navigating peril. It is about time. It is about the bittersweet reality that nothing remains unchanged. Not friendships, not childhood bedrooms, not even the stories we tell ourselves. Yet within that impermanence lies continuity. Woody and his friends survive because they adapt. They move forward. For audiences revisiting the film today, the emotional beats remain potent. The humor still lands, the tension still grips, and the farewell still stings. But perhaps its most enduring message is this: letting go is not the same as forgetting. Andy grows up, the toys find new purpose, and the story, much like childhood itself, becomes a cherished memory, one that continues to resonate long after the credits roll.